Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. It is greatly appreciated. This is the American Dufus channel. This is news done differently. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. This is the midday brief. We begin with a look at flight tracker radar, as we have so often done in the beginning of our episodes. Again, thank you for watching. Right at the moment, right here beside the Polish and Ukrainian border, we have Duke 52. Duke 52 is uh, they're not going to give us a picture of it, but that's okay. Duke 52 is a Black Hawk helicopter, and either patrolling along the border or possibly helping to guarantee safe passage from someone potentially important from Liv to Restvov. Another Duke has come into the air, Duke 50, and this is that's a private plane nearby. Well, there we got Duke 50. This is another Black Hawk helicopter, so two Black Hawks up in the air. This is a commercial flight. It's another small private plane, I believe. That's a Polish Air Force Academy plane. A Diamond DA-20C1 Eclipse. And we've got Forte 11. Forte 11, the drone right here, has been making loops in the Black Sea. The reason for that is because we're anticipating an amphibious landing attempt on Odessa. We'll be talking about that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Again, this is the midday brief. We will have a much more expanded edition coming up live tonight at 10 p.m. Right now, let's take a look at cameras across Ukraine. We have a camera in Kiev. This is in Kharkiv. This is in Kamensklia. This is in Lviv. And this shows where Russian attacks are currently underway. 7:59 p.m. in Kiev. So about 6 hours ahead of us, exactly 6 hours ahead of us, now that our time has sprung forward with daylight savings time. I've got some comments on that, but that's not what this episode is about. A lot to go through, and we're going to do it quickly here on the midday brief. Prime ministers of Poland, Czech Republic, and Slovenia have arrived in Kyiv. They arrived by train, the three prime ministers, the first heads of any European government to go into Kyiv since the Russian attack was launched on the 24th of February. Ukraine is just a temporary step towards a major global conflict, says Igor Novilikov. He's the former advisor to the Ukrainian president. Putin does not even recognize us as people, us meaning the Ukrainians. The real enemy here is NATO. The real enemy here is the U.S. Things I've been saying since before this even started. This is the lady that we talked about last night that ran onto the stage of the ran onto the set rather of Channel 1 News out of Russia, one of the most watched news channels in all of Russia. Held up a sign that said no war, and that the people were lying, the government was lying to the people. This is odd. You would think that with everything going on, this would be a this situation where we might never ever hear of this person again. That's kind of what I thought when she did that, well, she's a mother of two. And not only did she just throw her job away as an editor there at the station, she was an employee of the station. It's not like there was a major security breach and some random person just happened to get into the studio. She's been fined 30,000 rubles, which is basically $280. And she was fined that for her video explaining herself, not for actually going on the television and showing the sign. Again, it's something that just doesn't add up, and we'll be watching for this. Israel has suspended visa-free entry regime for Ukrainians and will not accept refugees. So we're going to be keeping an eye on Israel too. Some disturbing developments if you're one of the Western governments. Israel possibly, it's not been confirmed, but it's been hinted at that Israel has offered safe haven for Russian oligarchs, and we have witnessed a lot of travel in and out of Israel by private jets owned by Russian oligarchs. Some sad news. We reported yesterday that the second journalist from the United States had been struck. The entire Fox News crew was hit, not just the journalist, his cameraman and their producer. The cameraman and the producer were killed. We reported on the Fox News reporter that he had leg damage. It appears that he's lost at least one of his legs from reports we're getting. And Fox News just lost, this is an hour ago, killed by Russians in Ukraine, and their hosts are talking about the cost of pajama bottoms at Target. I'm not kidding. Folks, that's why it's important to watch this program, because we give you the news. You're not going to get a bunch of commercial, not going to get a bunch of hype. You're going to get the news in context and not just filler. Okay. This is Vlad. Vlad was, again, one of the first people I came in contact with. Vlad was a filmmaker up until 3 weeks ago now. And Vlad is not concerned about anything being released. He is not going to be at the location he is at right when this is filmed, by the time it got to us. And he's continued to share with us what life is really like in Ukraine.
Hey, what's up, guys? Just want to show you how regular soldiers living. That's Kai. That's Pedro. That's Serey. And we're living in an empty building. It's totally empty. You see here. We have like our space to sleep, and this guy's preparing to do something very, very serious. Anyway, I hope you're... Actually, both of these guys are single, so girls, like, just take what we have here in Ukraine. They're free. And what's up? How is your evening? What are you doing, guys? Greetings from Ukraine. Hey, what's up, guys?
I don't know if you caught it, but they were getting ready to depart, and he says, I can't talk about it, but they're getting ready to do something very, very serious. So my personal thoughts and prayers, as I am constantly conveying to him, for his safety and his bravery, and sharing with us his experiences. You're not going to get that anywhere else. You're probably not going to get this anywhere else either. Just to give you an idea, this is what it sounds like when a cruise missile flies overhead. That was taken yesterday. The Don Blas governor, Russia takes patients, medical staff hostage in Mariupol. Governor says Russian troops entered a hospital on the outskirts of Mariupol. Russians drove 400 people from neighboring houses to the hospital, and they are holding that segment of the population hostage, basically. Again, we showed you Forte 11 out over the Black Sea. Russian Navy forces, including landing ships, are currently advancing on Odessa. This was about 4 hours ago. Again, we'll have an extended report later on tonight, beginning at 10 p.m. live. But at the moment, landing craft are approaching the Ukrainian coast, and with the target being Odessa. Just a little context here. Basically, Russia is not overwhelming anything anywhere in Ukraine. All right, they have various fronts open, including the Donbass region, trying to get to Kyiv, trying to take in totality Mariupol, trying to take Kharkiv, advancing on Kyiv. They've got all these different fronts going, and they're not winning really anywhere. And now they're looking at opening a fifth front in Odessa with amphibious landings. And again, when you hear Russian Marines, think more Russian mariners, not Marines. Don't apples to apples with our Marines, because it's apples to oranges. Our Marines to what they call Marines, they're really more mariners, and we'll talk more about that later on tonight as well. An Indian court upheld a ban on the hijab in class in the state of Karnataka, a ruling that could set a precedent for the rest of India, which has a big Muslim minority. So tensions rising everywhere else. If tensions begin to rise with Muslim nations and India, again, a few days back, I told you, the as far as looking globally, the places we need to watch, they start with an I. A lot of them: Israel, India, Iraq, Iran. So we'll as always keep monitoring these things, because they all tie together when you look at geopolitical. Some footage of what actually happened this morning. Kyiv, for the first time, residential areas in Kyiv were attacked in force, and they were not attacked from the ground. They were attacked with missile strikes. Again, thank you for watching. It's the midday brief. Well, I thought that was the video, but that's just the video right above it. Here we go. Obviously not a military target. He's pissed. And the video shows us the aftermath. The still shot shows as missiles were hitting the apartment building. One of the oligarchs that I was talking about, the Russian oligarchs, Roman Abramovich, he was seen in Tel Aviv at the VIP lounge. His plane was tracked there about 48 hours ago, and he took off to Istanbul, Turkey. I mentioned this last night. I want to touch on it again. Death of a young black man in Indiana after 100 years has finally been ruled a lynching, and an anti-lynching law finally was passed earlier this week after 200 years and after over 20 tries. And the last time anything of notoriety with lynching was when the Capitol rioters who were trying to overthrow the government were demanding that Mike Pence be lynched, the vice president of the United States. And with the tumultuous political climate that has been created by those in Washington, D.C., and fostered by those in Washington, D.C., have to wonder if the anti-lynching bill wasn't really about protecting members of Congress instead of members of minority communities. Just something to think about. Russia bombarded Kharkiv tonight with cluster bombs, and very evident from this video. Let me restart here. Hitting much closer to the house, as you can tell by the volume. And the aftermath. Russian UAV was shot down by Ukrainian air defense earlier yesterday after it briefly passed into Polish airspace. There will be those crying for Article 5 of NATO. That does not necessarily apply. I started to mention this last night, and this is Ukraine. And these are the places that Ukraine exports to, critical, especially when it comes to grain. Ukraine is a massive agricultural country, sending to Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. What's missing? America. We don't really depend on Ukraine for much of anything except stopping Russia at the moment. So does this play a part in our attitude towards things? Just something to think about. Hong Kong market plummeted yesterday after fears that China may provide military support to Russia. The Chinese stock exchange closed down 7.15%, and the Hang Tech Index fell over 11%. This is just with the idea that China may be helping Russia because of the sanctions poured out upon Russia. Similar sanctions would be levied against China, and their markets reacting preemptively. Russia asking China for food for its army. Among the assistance Russia's request of China was prepackaged, non-perishable military food kits, known here as MREs, or meals ready to eat. Russia will begin using the Chinese yuan from its foreign exchange reserves after Western sanctions blocked Moscow's access to the dollar and the euros. So Russia is indeed trying to use China as a workaround. We're going to talk about how all of this fits together later on tonight in our extended episode at 10 p.m. live. The nation of Russia has nationalized over 500 aircraft, private commercial planes. It will be the largest single civil fleet destruction activity in the history of aviation. The aircraft will never operate as part of the global fleet again. And a reminder from last night, sexual orientation is not a choice. Race is not a choice. Place of birth is not a choice. And your ethnic group is not a choice. Hate is a choice. Berlin warns Ukrainian refugees about trafficking danger. We've been talking about this, and we're going to continue to talk about it, continue to raise the awareness that it is indeed happening here in our country. It's happening in your state, and it's happening all around the world. And the only way that we put a dent into it is by becoming aware of it. Multiple instances have been reported where paratroopers from the Russian Special Forces, the VDV that we've talked about, parachutes failing to open because of lack of maintenance, and basically a lot of Russian troops simply falling to their deaths. Again, we will take another look at what is going on in Ukraine at the moment, and there doesn't appear to be any sirens or any incoming so we'll keep monitoring as we do, and again, we'll check back in with flight radar real quick, as we did at the beginning of this short brief. We'll be back on later on tonight. At 10 p.m. live with extended coverage. Forte 11 has shifted a little bit towards the west, but yet still flying basically the same flight pattern. Monitoring, I'm assuming the Russian naval advancement onto the coast near Odessa, including amphibious landing vehicles. Duke 52, our Black Hawk helicopter, is still traveling along the Polish and Ukraine borders, and it's going to be one of our tankers, two tankers, it looks like, that are in the air. This should be a stratotanker. Yeah, a stratotanker. Looks like it has just entered the airspace, and this tanker that we just shown is probably going to be moving down here and replacing this one that has been providing fuel for various aircraft for quite some time. I'm not sure what this little thing is here. It's a private plane with no takeoff or with no departure or destination. Okay. It's a private jet. Again, we got two Blackhawks up here. We've got Duke 52 flying along the border, and then we've got Duke 50 right back here that appears just to be circling at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on all of this, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock tonight with updates on everything. Thank you so much for watching. Greatly appreciated. Please share the program so others know about it. And if you are watching on, no matter where you're watching from, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, we're going to be expanding into Instagram and probably Twitch, and maybe Telegram. I'm not sure yet, but we're going to be expanding in the coming weeks, and we can use your help to expand the program. Share, like, follow. If you're on YouTube and you're a subscriber, hit the notification bell so you know when we are going to be back on. And we will be back on at 10 o'clock tonight live with a more expanded version of things going on, including talking about the big picture, talking about what China and Russia probably had in mind when they came together in their summit back before all this began. The big picture, the big plan, if you will, the chessboard. We'll talk about that and more coming up later on tonight. 10 p.m. live, an expanded version of News Done Differently. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Thank you so very much for watching, and we'll see you tonight.